Hey, friendly neighborhood geek here doing another Black History Month oriented movie review. This time on Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan's The Karate Kid. Yes. I saw this in theaters. This came out I think like July 11th, 2010. It won Kids Choice Awards. I think Best Movie of Kids Choice Awards during that time, which is really cool. I think I kind of remember a little bit of that. Um, it was directed by Harold Zwart. May have butchered that name. I apologize, but that's pretty cool. Yeah, for those who don't know, this was a remake. I believe I'm not so I think they maybe spent like 45 million USD, wow, to make this movie, or maybe yeah, I think it was that was spent to make the movie. I don't think that was the amount they earned back from ticket sales or whatever. Yes, this is a remake of a movie from like 19 the original series Karate Kid was like it started in like 1984, 1985 with Ralph Macchio. Um Me personally, I am a fan of martial arts. At some point, I would like to learn, martial arts down the line. But I've always enjoyed martial art movies and karate movies. I just really didn't grow up with the Ralph Macchio movies too much. I've seen a little bit. I think I've seen most of the first one. Um, I've seen some of the sequels. I think they did kind of do a spin-off back then where Jackie Chan's character, Mr. Miyagi, uh, trained a girl after, I guess, training Ralph Macchio's character. So that's pretty cool. I haven't seen that one. And then we got a spin-off show about the bully from the original series called Cobra Kai, which has had several seasons. It's, to my knowledge, is still going, I believe. It's very, very well received. So I mean, if you wanted, you could have a Karate Kid marathon, and that's really cool. But of course, the reason why I'm focusing on this one is A, because our main character is African American, and B, uh, I this is the Karate Kid I grew up with. I saw this in theaters with my mom. I really enjoyed it. My mom being a fan of the old one. My uncle, he was a fan of the original series, and Cobra Kai. He also, my uncle knows martial arts. Really, really cool. So like I said, being fans of the original series, my mom just thought it was okay. She's not a big fan of it, but I like it. I'm sure everybody knows who Jackie Chan is. Jackie Chan, very well known Asian actor, very beloved. Kind of like when I did my Jack Black movie review. Everybody knows who Jackie Chan is, especially if you grew up with the Jackie Chan cartoon. Um, Jackie Chan also had a video game. I think a couple of video games actually, but I know he had one for the PlayStation One, which um, still holds up to my knowledge, and he had one based off his cartoons. That's really cool. Sure everyone knows who Jaden Smith is. Will Smith and Jada Pickett Smith's son. I've talked about Jada Pickett Smith on my page, um, in a couple of videos, or yeah, one review. Um, he has a sister named Willow. She, to my knowledge, is a musician. I'm not sure what else Willow has been up to. Um, so that's really cool that Jaden and Willow have, been able to do their own thing outside of, what their parents have done. I think that's really neat. So yeah, I thought Jaden did a good move. Did a good movie. I thought Jaden did a good job in this movie. I think he carried the movie the best to his ability. I mean, he was 12 years old. Wow. You're 12 and you're the main character of your own movie. That's pretty dope, honestly. I'm sure that was one heck of an experience, and to work with Jackie Chan, and to my knowledge, him and Jackie Chan are still, really close. I'm not sure, if they, like hang out a whole lot or anything, but I know they still have a close, tight bond, which I think is really sweet, from working together all those years ago. Like what? So this is like 14. Yeah, this is like 14 years ago. Wow. Um, where I try not to get off. Try not to get off topic. I try not to get off topic. Okay. I got a little excited because, like I said, I like this movie and I haven't seen it in a while, so I'll probably rewatch it in the next couple of days. Um, so we have Jaden Smith's character. His name is Dre. I'll kind of get it back into that. I feel like some elements of his character maybe hasn't aged as well um, as how it was back then. So we have Dre. His mom is played by Taraji P. Henson, a veteran black actress, very well known in the black community. Um, she has so the job or career she has requires her to relocate. She has to relocate to China. Um, for years, I always thought they were in Japan, but they were in China. Of course, he's not too fond of that, having to go somewhere. I mean, leave the country, leave the United States, be away from their friends and family. He has to learn, Chinese. So sometimes learning different languages can be challenging. So, all experiencing all these things, all these changes as 12-year old, and dad's not in the picture. I don't know if they ever mentioned his dad or if dad was deceased. I don't know. I don't remember if they ever mentioned a dad. So it's just him and his mom. So he enrolls in school. Of course, he's an outsider. Of course, so surprisingly, of course, there are a lot of different people, different races of people who live in Japan and Germany and Mexico or whatever. Like there's all different types of people that live in those places. I think with some people, I kind of thought like this when I was a little bit younger. I just assumed that in China there was only just Asian people. I really didn't think like, oh, black, a group of black people could live in a place like that, or whatever. I never really thought about that until I got older. I'm like, oh wow, no, people, all types of people can live anywhere in the world. Well, for the most part. um, so yeah, he rolls in school, kind of having trouble fitting in. Um, he meets this Asian girl who becomes his love interest, and they kind of start to develop a friendship together. And she has another friend, a childhood friend, who's kind of a bully, and he has his own group, his own friend group, and they kind of like make fun of Dre and kind of tease him behind his back. And a couple times, I think when he sees what they're doing, he kind of stands up for himself. And eventually, um, he gets into a scuffle with them, and we kind of have a little chase scene, and they kind of jump him. Yeah, a black kid getting jumped by several Asian boys. That don't know how well that's aged, but so I didn't know this. Apparently, he knew a little bit of martial arts in the beginning of the movie, but not like enough, not to the point to where the bully and his friends did, because they actually had a teacher. They had martial art classes after school, so they were consistently training. Um, and Dre was not. So they basically jumped him. He almost got like really really beat up. Luckily, Jackie Chan happened to be present and he saved him. And Jackie Chan playing Mr. Miyagi, a repairman or handyman. Of course, Dre was like, "Hey, teach. I want to know. I want to know how to defend myself. I want to do martial arts." Eventually, Mr. Miyagi is kind of like not really feeling it, but eventually he gives in and teaches Dre, and like so kind of becomes a mentor figure, father figure. Some other stuff happens. He enters a contest, or he enters a tournament because he kind of wants to get back at the bully and his friends for what they did to him. And Mr. Miyagi's like, no, you're going to do this the right way. You're going to enter the tournament where you'll fight them, on equal ground or whatever. Um, so some other stuff happens. Some stuff happens between him and the love interest. Her parents aren't too fond of him because I guess they don't want her to be distracted from her studies. And I think she takes violin, like she's in not she's like in a band or something. Um, but eventually he's able to win over the parents, and I think I won't spoil if he wins the tournament for this 14-year-old movie, but the ending, I mean, the story, everything gets resolved towards the end. Um, I mean, if you were to get I think this was a good introduction, yeah, to Karate Kid. I forgot. Also, there was a cartoon, so that's something not based off this, based off the original series. But like I said, this is a fun movie. Definitely a good kids movie. I love it. Highly recommend it. Not sure how I feel about his name being Dre, but it was 2010. But like I said, go give this a watch. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here doing another Black History Month oriented video review or movie review. This time on Eddie Murphy's The Adventures of Pluto Nash, the Man on the Moon. I never saw this growing up. This came out August 16th of 2002. It was directed by Ron Underwood. Cool. This had a solid cast outside of Eddie Murphy. Rosario Dawson, John Cleese. I'll put my phone on vibrate. And a handful of Peter Boyle, handful of other I would assume fairly well known actors and actresses. Oh, Pam Grier is in this. Foxy Brown herself is in this, playing Eddie's mom, which is really cool. But like I said, she only has a small role, so she was really more of a cameo than anything. But still, cool that she was in this. Yeah, this is like a fun adventure comedy. Yeah, like adventure comedy action sci-fi movie. Takes place on the moon. Again, I don't think Eddie Murphy needs an introduction. I mean, he has such a huge body of work. I mean, like he was Shrek. I mean, he was Donkey and Shrek. He was um, in Beverly Hills Cop, which I never saw. He was the Prince in Coming to America, which is a very popular movie in the Black community, and um, he's just done a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of things. Very, of course, very talented, very entertaining. You know, just yeah, he's an awesome. I would assume he's a beloved actor and comedian at this point in time. So, I think I said, yeah, this came out in 2002, the same year as wow, the same year as Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, first Spider-Man with Green Goblin. That's insane. This movie is 20 years old. I saw this on YouTube. I watched it and liked it, and I think I saw bits and pieces of it in the like some years ago. Of course, I didn't see it from the beginning, so I wasn't familiar what it was. Um, so what is this about, basically? Well, we have Eddie's character who I guess he was kind of like a smuggler. Like he would smuggle all different types of stuff. He eventually, I guess, got incarcerated for that. He did some time in jail or whatever. Um, so when he got out, he decided, maybe he kind of wanted to change his life around. He wanted to open a nightclub. That was something he had a passion for. His friend had one, but the friend was running it poorly, and I don't know if it was like the mob or something, but the friend owed a crime lord some money or something, and since he couldn't keep up with the payments, the crime lord sent two of his people to go to the club and dispose of him, if you know what I mean. So Eddie or Pluto happened to be there, and he stepped in. And he said, "Well, what if I can make back the money? He owes you all or whatever. Like, let me have the club." And he was actually friends with I think he was friends with the crime lord, and he was friends with one of the minions that was sent to get rid of Pluto's friend. So yeah, he made a deal with them. Like, okay, so what if you let me have the nightclub and I make back the money he owes you or whatever? And I believe he did. Yeah, he ended up being able to make back the money that the friend owed, and he had his own nightclub, and it was successful or whatever. He had a robot bodyguard, which was really cool. Um, Eventually, he meets Rosario Dawson's character, who I can't remember if she just needed somewhere. She needed to find work, and he hired her at the club as like a waitress, cocktail waitress or something. But her passion was to like be a dancer, not a dancer, a singer. Which I guess kind of spoiler, she does eventually achieve that goal in the end, which is really sweet. Um, so then some other people from the mafia wants Pluto out of the picture for some reason, and they try to offer him, money, like I guess to like give up this, like give up the club and just go somewhere and disappear and or whatever. Just leave this place. Don't come back. Just disappear. And he's like, no, this is my club. This is what my dream was, my passion or whatever. I'm not going anywhere. And then they threaten him, and then we have this situation where the mafia is after Pluto, and of course his robot bodyguard, who's his companion, and Rosario Dawson's character, who ends up, I guess, kind of being his love interest. So she accompanies him and the robot for the remainder of the movie. Um, and yeah, we just kind of get this adventure that takes place on the moon, which is really cool. The cinematography and the special effects and the practical effects really reminds me of like the early Spy Kids movies, or maybe like the 90s Batman movies, like Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. um, what's another example? Like Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Like it kind of had like, I guess, kind of a cartoony aesthetic to it, which I think was really cool. Or maybe what is it, The Fifth Element with Mila Jovovich and Bruce Willis. You know that movie, like the how they use practical and special effects in that movie, kind of reminded me of this movie of Pluto Nash. So that's cool. The title kind of, I think it's funny. The title kind of, um, what's the word? What's the word? I'm always forgetting the words I need to say right at the right time. Um, I can't remember the word, but it's called The Adventures of Pluto Nash, but we only see him go on one adventure. So technically, it's The Adventure of Pluto Nash, which is funny. Um, but like I said, Eddie plays Pluto very cool. Um, he's just a solid. You know, Eddie could play a solid leading man character, whatever. Um, he's not arrogant. Uh, he's not an a hole. Um, he's kind of like a James Bond in some aspects. He's calm, cool, and collective, and you know he knows how to handle himself, and you know knows how to get out of sticky situations or whatever. So that's really cool. Um, so eventually, you know, he confronts the mob, or the crime boss, the mafia lord, whatever, and at his really big, it's like a casino, ex hotel, ex nightclub. It's really cool. Um, of course, we get a final confrontation. Of course, I'm going over some story bits because I don't want to spoil. And yeah, we get a solid, you know, conclusion to the story. Um, Again, not too much to say. It's fun. It's just a fun action sci-fi comedy movie, you know, with Eddie Murphy. I like it. I think it's cool. Um, like I said, I like the cast. I like the cinematography. I like they did a fairly good job, like giving you the idea that all this took place on the moon, in outer space. I don't know if we see any aliens. I don't think so. I could be wrong. That's kind of I would say that's kind of a um, con. Like it would have been cool, like if we saw aliens, you know, like with Men in Black or something, or Star Wars. I think that would have really added to this world. You know, this slightly futuristic world. Um, but it's cool. It's cool. Like I said, it's on YouTube for free at the moment. So if you're interested, give it a watch. If you haven't seen it in a long time, I think it's worth, you know, rechecking out. Like I said, Eddie Murphy did a great job. Cast, Rosario Dawson, everybody did good with what they were given. Um, yeah, The Adventures of Pluto Nash, the Man on the Moon. Go give it a watch on YouTube. Uh, Peace, you guys. Hey, your friendly neighborhood geek here, doing another Black History Month oriented movie review. This time on Fat Albert with Keenan Thompson. Yeah, this came out December 25th of '04. Wow, I didn't realize it was that old, and I didn't realize it came out on Christmas. Just like with my Jack Black Gulliver's Travels movie review. That came out on Christmas. Um, for those who don't know, Fat Albert was created by Bill Cosby. I'm sure everybody knows who Bill Cosby is, veteran black actor. Unfortunately, has gone through some personal stuff in recent years that I won't get into. But at one point, he was a very beloved and very respected black entertainer. Well, in the '70s, I believe, yeah, in the '70s, to my knowledge, and I've seen reruns of uh, Fat Albert. Yes, in the '70s, he created Fat Albert as a cartoon. I think it was called Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, or Fat Albert and the something kids. I can't remember. Um, and it was a show about Fat Albert and his group of friends and their adventures, and sometimes they dealt with serious issues like gun violence and gangs and drugs and stuff like that. But for the most part, it was a very family friendly oriented show, cartoon. Um, so it has its fans. It had its success. And at some point, um, they decided to make a movie. Cool. With Keenan Thompson as Fat Albert. Even better. I think Keenan. I love Keenan Thompson. I didn't really grow up with Keenan and Kel. That was before my time. I've seen bits and pieces. But I do think Keenan and Kel Mitchell are very talented actors and entertainers. So again, like I've seen Good Burger. I haven't seen Good Burger 2 yet. I've seen him on SNL. I've seen him when he's done like voice work. So again, I love Keenan. Keenan, in my opinion, he did a good job. I mean, he was playing a cartoon character, so he did the best with the material he was given. This was directed Joel Zwick. Cool. Not familiar with them. This also stars Kyla Pratt. I've talked about Kyla in the past. Some people may know her from One on One, which was a kind of like a young adults show. I think I mentioned. Fun fact: my mom, in her 20s, got to be in the audience for One on One, so she got to actually see Kyla Pratt in person and perform. And I think Kyla, kind of talked to the audience, interacted with the audience before they started filming or whatever. Um, and she shared with me that was a really interesting, cool experience. So yeah, that's pretty cool. My mom got to see Kyla Pratt perform in person. Um, but Kyla was also the voice of Penny Proud on the Proud Family, another beloved black cartoon or piece of black media. Um, so with all that out of the way, and like I said, there's a lot of other cast members. But I just remember, like I said, Bill Cosby, who's in this movie. Bill Cosby's in this movie. Ken Thompson, Kyla Pratt, and a whole bunch of other talented actors and actresses who were in this. So what is this about? Well, we have Kyla's character. I can't remember if I know she has an older sister. I can't remember if they're like in the foster care system. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've seen this, or if they're living with her parents. I can't remember. But she's just been kind of going through a lot lately. Being a teenage girl, her I guess her personal situation, not really fitting in at school. She's watching Fat Albert, and she there's kind of like the episode is kind of similar to kind of what she's going through, and Fat Albert, like he has a female friend, and he's the female friend wants to quit school and run away, and Fat Albert and crew are trying to convince her not to go on that path and try to support her or whatever. So in the midst of him talking to Albert, talking to his female friend, he can somehow, because magic, he hears Kyla crying. Like because of what she's going through, she starts to cry a little bit. He hears her crying, and he's like, "Oh no, someone needs my help. Someone's in need or whatever." So somehow he's able to like just jump through the television. Like, so I don't know if the characters were self aware that they were in a cartoon. Like I can't remember, but he jumped through the portal, which he got stuck in her TV. Of course, she's flipping out, she's panicking, and eventually, I think she ends up helping him through the TV. Then once he goes missing, the rest of the crew, goes after him. So we have majority of the Fat Albert crew, um, in the real world, and it's like, well, their time period was what, like the '70s, and this is like the 2000s, so they're just kind of getting reacquainted with the way the modern world is. I guess finding out different things about themselves, because like they're characters, so they're only used to a certain, I guess, existence or a certain type of lifestyle, and to now be in the real world where they could kind of be whatever they want, it's like their minds are blown. So with that going on with the crew, experiencing being in the real world, Albert is, trying to help Kyla, or her name is Doris, trying to help her be popular and help her navigate through school. And he also kind of starts to gain feelings for her sister. I think Kyla starts to gain feelings for Albert, and so does her sister. So it's sort of kind of becomes like a love triangle. Like, the both sisters kind of start, falling for Albert. And he's kind of like he's never experienced that before. So he's kind of like not constricted. I don't know the right word to feel, or the right word to say, but he doesn't know what to do. Like, I have these two girls who like me, and I like them, but like, I don't know how I like them. Like, I like them as friends. Do I like one sister more than the other sister? Like that type of thing. Um, so Bill Cosby's in this. I won't spoil what the Bill Cosby sequence happens, but it is a pretty pivotal moment in the movie, and it's a pretty funny moment in the movie because, like I said, I won't spoil what happens, but Albert does meet him, and of course, a cartoon character meeting his creators, like if Mickey Mouse met Walt Disney in person, like I'm sure Walt Disney would pass out. Like that's so something like that kind of happens with Bill Cosby. But we basically find out that because they're cartoon characters, because of the way cartoons were made back then and preserved, like production stills, storyboards, like if those aren't properly preserved, like those could like physically disintegrate and be gone forever. And that's basically what was going to happen to Fat Albert and Company because they're cartoon characters, because plot, they can't stay in the real world for too long or they'll just disintegrate. They would have to return to the cartoon world. So some other shenanigans happen. I think he ends up apologizing to Kyla and her sister. Um, they all kind of make amends, make peace with each other. They forgive him, and eventually the whole crew is able to return back to the cartoon world. Um, and his female friend that he was trying to convince not to run away, we kind of we circle back to that point, and since he experienced what since he had that experience with Kyla and her sister, but mostly Kyla, it's like he's not reading from a script. He's actually now speaking from his heart and telling her what he how he really feels, or what he thinks she should hear or she should know, talking about the female friend in the cartoon world. And that convinces her to stay and give school and give being in that town a second chance. Um, so again, it's a fun movie. It's a fun family romance comedy movie based off a cartoon from the 70s. I mean, to take the Fat Albert character and his squad, to take those characters and reimagine them in this way, I feel like was very, very creative on the writers and the director's part. Like, I'm curious to know how much um, how involved Bill Cosby was with the story. Uh, but like I said, this is good. I think this is one of Keenan's best performances. There's also like a little funny gag sequence at the end of the movie. But yeah, if you've never seen this,